Within the Imperial Palace, decisions are made and governances are declared that will affect the entirety of the Empire, from the Nibony Bay all the way to the islands off the coast of High Rock. Surely, everyone is okay with this, and there are never any complaints, and everything is always done with the best intentions of the people in mind.
No, not at all.
Corruption.
Now watch this drive.
Last time we took a look at racism in Cyrodiil, and there was no shortage of that to be found. Today, let's take a look at another problem that's been plaguing the land: the dishonesty and immorality exhibited by some of the elites within Oblivion society would make some of the elites in our society blush. In the lore, a lot of insight is hinted at into some of the misdeeds and the complicated web of political games that are being played in the Imperial City, but I was curious to see how that influences the gameplay in Oblivion. Obviously, we as adventurers are not qualified for seats in government, but as adventurers, I think that we can get a better insight into it than most people could. That said, it's not just the government in Cyrodiil that's corrupt. With the plethora of different factions, guilds, and coalitions you'll find all over Cyrodiil, surely a handful of the leaders are lining their pockets a little bit, right? Maybe one or two of them are like actively working in the shadows to keep Cyrodiil's people cooped up like sheep, like cattle.
Eat your mudcrab chitin to combat your ataxia. It definitely doesn't make you stupider.
I'm getting off track. This video isn't about conspiracies. Not this one anyway. With all that in mind, today I just want to ask one question. How corrupt is Cyrodiil? Last time I did strictly define the word of the day, but corruption is a lot more broad. Today we're going to be looking at a variety of different sorts of unethical practices in various capacities. And with that, I believe the Oxford Dictionary definition is the most appropriate: dishonest or illegal behavior, especially of people in authority. Sounds good to me. Sound good to you? All right. Let's hop to it. To start off, let's take a look at something that you see anytime you walk into any city in the game: the guards.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
Guards are rightfully seen as a force to be reckoned with. So with all that power and authority that they're given, it wouldn't be surprising to find that some of those people are abusing that power for their own gain. For specifics, let's take a look at Cyrodiil. A lot of the locals here have been complaining about new fines that have been enacted. Ever since the new head of the guard was instated, one Leland McDouchebag fuck, the fines have been going up, and nobody seems to know why or what it is going to. Not only are there new strict laws for anything and everything under the sun, if you cannot pay them, they have the right to confiscate your house. Your house! So let me get this straight. Some no-name that nobody has ever heard of suddenly is the captain of the guard and is enacting incredibly high fines. Nobody seems to know where the money's going either. Yeah, no, nothing out of the ordinary there at all.
Geez, sorry, I will get out of your way.
Oh yeah, turns out he's been buying lots of expensive things. You can see that when you go into his personal quarters, where I found count 'em, 3 guards that would not fucking leave. The corruption runs too deep.
Initiate purge protocol.
On top of that, he's sending money to his cousins so that they can build a large estate in the country. So yeah, no question here as to this dickhead's corruption. But I do find it interesting how he got into this position. Was he a guard that worked his way through the ranks? Was he a transfer from another city? Looking at it, it's pretty clear that this was all allowed to happen because the Count of Cyrodiil is a fucking moron. And you have to wonder, how common of a thing is this? How many low-ranking officials abuse their power to this extent because their superiors are knuckle-scraping Neanderthals? Wish I can tell you it was, but Cyrodiil isn't the only place in Cyrodiil with a corruption problem working its way through the guard barracks. One of the corrupt guards in question is in the Imperial City. He is quite fond of shaking down several stores in the marketplace, and the people are sick of it. Not much they can do though. The guards have swords. To get to the bottom of it all and actually find someone who will do something about it, you do have to do quite a bit of running around. This is another captain. That right there, kinda suspect. Eventually though, you do find someone who is willing to arrest the guard for corruption and abuse of power. And someone was willing to do the same thing in Cyrodiil as well. Looking at these cases in the microcosm, this does not look good. The abuse of power here is pretty damn bad, and they're kind of allowed to act with impunity before you come along and do something about it. If you don't, it's likely that this stuff wouldn't stop. But let's use our big boy brains and look at the macrocosm. These really do seem to be isolated incidents in the grand scheme of things. For the most part, people seem to get along pretty decently well with most of the guards. The merchants in the Imperial City and the people of Cyrodiil just so happen to get very unlucky. And yeah, fuck these guys. But you know what? Once it was brought up, there was always someone there who was willing to take the corruption seriously and was even willing to be put to task to root out said corruption. And in the end, it was, in both cases. You ever have a boss or a teacher or something like that that really didn't deserve whatever power or authority they had? I'm sure you have. Me too, buddy. Ain't it the worst? The Mages Guild in Bruma seems to be suffering from this very problem. The leader of this wing of the guild, Jean, is, and this is according to the people working underneath her, fucking stupid. To prove how inept at magic she is, the guild members routinely prank her for their own amusement. She was convinced that one of them was teleported to another location, but the dude was just invisible. They really don't like that she is their boss, and there's nothing they can really do about it, despite the fact that she's an idiot. Now, you're probably thinking,
How does she have this position in the Mages Guild if she is so bad at magic?
Speaking to her makes it very obvious. She is very open to bribes and favor for favor type arrangements. Repeatedly, she makes it clear that it is all about who you know, and says multiple times that it would be beneficial to get on her good side. It's hard to tell if she's telling the truth, but she implies that her recommendation for entrance has more weight than any of the other guilds. And she says it's because of her connections. She literally doesn't even try to hide it. I can't tell if it's outright boldness or outright stupidity, but either way, you gotta admire her. If what she says is true, then I guarantee it is also the same for the other branch heads. They're just not as open about it as Jean here. This is literally the bottom level of any kind of hierarchy. This shit goes all the way up to the top. To be accepted in the guild, you need a recommendation from every guild leader. Immediately, a barrier to entry is knowing people. Sure, you can just walk into any mage's guild in Cyrodiil and ask to speak to the leader, but that doesn't mean they have to give you a recommendation. If they outright dislike the person asking, they could potentially be their one and only barrier from entrance. It's funny to me just how brazen Jean is about all of this, by the way. If people like this in real life were this open about it, we would be living in a much more interesting world. Side note for Bruma, just a quick one. The Countess here can summon you for a quest to recover an Akaviri artifact from a lost location that was rumored to not even exist. Blah, 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 blah. It's cool, don't get me wrong, I don't care about that here. What I'm more interested in is the fact that she claims to have possibly the largest collection of Akaviri artifacts in the world. That shit ain't cheap, guaranteed. Makes me wonder how she affords it all. I don't think I have to wonder too hard. There is no doubt in my mind that this collection is funded by the taxpayer. At least she has the decency to display them as if the castle was a museum, but she still clearly states that they're hers. Just something to chew on. Okay, so that was one of the Mages Guild leaders, but there's 6 others. I don't think looking at only one is going to give us a good look into the corruption of the guild at its base level. Okay, so let's take a look at the Cyrodiil guild leader, Falcar. We go to him to ask for his recommendation, and all he wants in exchange for us is to get a ring out of the well out back. Okay, cool. Sounds easy enough. But the second in command here really doesn't like us doing this and seems really upset he's sending someone else out there to do it again. Apparently the guy Falcar sent out before hasn't been seen since attempting to get the ring. Fuck it, we ball. We got this. Alright, jackass, this is the Mages Guild, so water breathing isn't too hard. Apparently not for this poor bastard, though. Coming back to return the ring, we find ourselves in the aftermath of a heated exchange. Apparently, Farkas stormed out after being called out for his recommendation task. Now we just gotta go see if he's drafted up any kind of recommendation for us yet. Okay, so this guy is an absolute prick, but nothing he's done outright screams corruption, and he didn't draft anything up. But there are black soul gems to be found in his drawer. Dude's a necromancer, and now he's busted for it. He'll be back, but this is a good example of how easily this kind of thing worms its way into common society. It's hard to tell how long Falcar has been in this position or how long he's been planning anything nefarious, but once again, there was someone here to call out the problem and actually have the nutsack to do something about it. There honestly does seem to be a kind of checks and balances cosmic force going on here. We help things along the way, acting as an agent of this force, but there's already someone in each of these scenarios both willing to call out the evil acts of power and someone willing to take action. We just kind of mediate. Okay, that is enough of the Mages Guild. If I kept talking about this, we'd be here all day. There are actually some good examples I didn't get to use in this video, so remember to leave a like if you want to see a corruption in Oblivion Part 2.
The Emperor has just kicked the bucket. The land is being invaded by demons from hell portals. The Imperial Palace is silent.
There is not a damn thing going on in the Imperial Palace, at least not in any noticeable capacity. I waited around here all damn day, and this fucker right here sat in this chair and did absolutely nothing all day. And anytime you'd walk up to him and try to talk to him, all he does is tell you to leave him alone, that he's busy running the country. Homie, I have been to Oblivion and rescued the only heir to the throne. Who the fuck are you? There's not even any kind of, you know, excitement to the place. Like, this is the heart of the Empire. The government that controls nearly the entirety of Tamriel, if not all of it. You also need to remember that the Oblivion crisis isn't only happening in Cyrodiil. It's happening all over Tamriel and likely all over the whole of Nirn. The world is fucking ending. Why isn't there any kind of break in normalcy here? Even if the palace is more of a figurehead kind of location, it's still insanely dull here.
Could this mean that there is a secret plot from within the Imperial government to allow this to happen and destroy all of civilization as we know it?
The Imperial Palace. Tall, splendiferous, ignoring the cries of the people. All across Cyrodiil, Oblivion gates are opening and demons are pouring out. One would think that the empire that we trust to protect us would be hard at work trying to figure out the solution to this world-shattering event. Walking around the halls of the Imperial Palace, however, one would think that everyone had the day off. Strolling around are nothing but Imperial guards, casually patrolling the halls to make sure the non-existent guests don't get too loud and don't go anywhere they're not supposed to. Where are the people coming to request aid for the issues they face? It is not crazy to say that the people were likely turned away forcefully, as there is nowhere in sight that the disenfranchised of the Empire would come to plea for aid. The Emperor has passed, yes, but is this proof that there is no contingency plan in place and we are floundering like fish out of water? What does this mean for the future of the country? Will Cyrodiil survive this invasion from Oblivion? Will the Empire? Will Tamriel? In this reporter's opinion, now is the perfect time to absolutely lose your fucking shit. Back to you, Tom. I don't know if this is some kind of retroactively conditioned desire I'm trying to place on this game. By that I mean there's probably a good chance I'm wanting something akin to what you'd see in a modern game with lots of NPCs going about tasks and schedules. Honestly, that's basically what I expected to see when I thought it'd be fun to see what goes on in the Imperial Palace all day. Maybe it's the fresh coat of paint for the remaster tricking my brain into thinking that this is more than a graphical update. That said, there are plenty of places in the game with several NPCs going about paths and schedules. I'm getting off topic here a little bit, but I do find this disappointing and would have loved to get some more insight into how the Empire is reacting to the Oblivion crisis. Oh, and fuck Chancellor, whatever his name is. I hate him and I hope he fucking dies. Truthfully, I'm pretty positive this isn't an example of any kind of corruption or incompetence. I genuinely think this was either developer oversight or engine limitations, which is fine. I'm not gonna sit here and criticize a 20-year-old game for not having fully realized bustling cities. Okay, so this one was a bit of a bust. But speaking of the game's engine and mechanics, it's time to finally get to the elephant in the room. I haven't brought it up, but I'm sure you've seen it in the background behind me. The astute of you will have noticed. Do not worry, I have heard your pleas. They shall not go unanswered. Everyone, with a few exceptions, can be bribed in this game. If you can persuade them, you can bribe them into liking you and telling you things they otherwise wouldn't. Sure, you can say that you can achieve the same thing by playing the dialogue wheel minigame, but why be personable when you just have all this gold burning a hole in your pocket and time is short? And besides, just because you convince someone with your words instead of your gold doesn't mean they're not susceptible to being bribed. You can argue that bribing some of the merchants is like a little investment for easier haggling. But you know, is this really corruption? Or is this just being a likable person? Oh, how fine the line is. I was a little curious to see how much this could be extended to possibly convincing the guards to look the other way when I commit crimes. It, didn't go very far.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
So while it might not curry favor with the guards you're actively committing crimes in front of, a little bit of jingle jangle can go a long way with most other people, and it absolutely works to your benefit too. This guy won't give up secrets regarding confidential Imperial actions? Give him a little bit of gold. See how loose his tongue is then. And yeah, while giving a shitload of gold to the local housewife so she'll like you more isn't an example of corruption. But by the 9 is it when you do to officials and nobles. One of the reasons I wanted to take a look into corruption today, and specifically wanted to explore the Imperial Palace and city for officials dealing in political affairs, was because Cyrodiil feels like it should have those things. While I am pretty new to some of the deeper aspects of the Elder Scrolls lore,
Welcome, Moon and Star.
I am given to understand that pre-Oblivion, the Lord did seem to explicitly say that Cyrodiil's political landscape is a complex web with countless players, all involved in various schemes to advance their careers. I know that this is a rather complicated thing to express and show in the confines of the game, but come on, man. Something would have been nice. Instead, we get this one dickhead sitting here all day. Even outside of the Imperial City, I would have loved to see more political intrigue between the cities in Cyrodiil. But you know what? At this point, I don't want this to sound like a list of what I would have liked to see in a game that came out almost 2 decades ago. In terms of this video, I just wanted to talk about political stuff, but most corruption you can come across in the general course of things is kind of small time compared to what it could be. The Emperor was assassinated and there are demons pouring into Tamriel. Jesus Christ. Joking aside, I think that we can agree that there is corruption going on in Oblivion. Just like in real life, there will always be people willing to abuse their power for their own gain. Favors for favors are pretty commonplace. For a lot of these though, and quite unlike real life, there is someone there willing to do something about it. Seeing as this is a video game and it would be incredibly pointless for this to happen in the background, all of the confrontations need to be initiated by the player. That's fine though. Something is still being done about it. So in the end, while I would have loved to have seen some more political intrigue, it seems like most of the corruption in this game gets rooted out with a little bit of intervention. It's still there, but as stated earlier, there almost seems to be a divine force for righting whatever wrongs the perpetrators are enacting. That said, there are still instances where nothing can really be done about it, and they can be just as frustrating to experience through gameplay as they are in real life. And to that I say, that's what the F5 key is for. But you know what? We only touched the surface of the corruption in Cyrodiil. There may not be political intrigue, but by the gods are some of the people here fucked. I think there's definitely enough for a part 2 for this, so be sure to let me know if that's something you guys would like to see. Another report for the Emperor down. If you can think of some stuff that I missed, let me know in the comments below. Might take a look at it in the part 2 if you guys like this one. Remember to like the video and subscribe. My goal is to hit 500 subscribers by the end of the year, and I'm over halfway there thanks to all of you. Remember to check out my other videos if you want more, and be sure to stick around because there is oh so much more on the way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Are you looking at my testicles, Nerval?